All right, we're going to move now to visitor statements, and we'll start over here first. Anybody wants to speak over here, please raise your hand. Then please step up.
Hi, my name is Lou Superno. I live in North Riverside. My daughter Carly will be graduating very soon from here. And we've got two boys that are freshmen here, so I have a lot to be concerned about with the direction that the school is going. John, you mentioned something about, you know, the taxes and everything, and everybody knows that you don't want to raise taxes. Nobody wants to raise taxes. It's a very difficult thing, especially in tough economic times. But I think that your job as a school board is to have a plan and to be ready and be prepared for whatever happens. If we have to go for referendum, we should be ready to go for referendum. I think we've already gutted the teaching staff about as much as we can. We're losing a lot of very, very, very good people. People that we went after. So to say, you know, just to come out and say, well, you know, don't look at it like, well, oh, the board, that's what we're going to do is go to referendum. That being said, it's your job to be prepared for all those things. Because I don't think we could do much more to this school. We have a great school. The experience that my daughter's had at this school is phenomenal. And you know, if we do pass taxes, me personally, it costs me a lot because I have a business in North Riverside. So I'm paying for that, and I'm paying at my residence. So I know, but I also know that that's a heck of a lot cheaper than paying for private school. RB is a great school. When I walk into this school, and I spend a lot of time here, a lot of time here. I coach kids. A lot of these kids know me. A lot of the teachers know me. A lot of the parents know me. And the experience at this school is unbelievable. And you should be proud of making something like that. And it's sad that I really feel that it's being torn apart. We need a plan. Everything's got to be in place. You can't let it go. You can't let it go. It's too good a place. And if we get rid of everything, then all these kids, I don't know how many of you come in here and see all these kids that practically live in this school. For 4 years of high school, they practically live here. And if we don't have those experiences, if we don't have everything for those kids, then those kids where are they going to be? What street corner are they going to be on? And if we don't have all the classes and we don't have everything here for our kids so that they can get into good schools, what good is this? Because right now our kids can pretty much get into any school they want to because of what the school has provided and what I hope it continues to provide. So we don't want to go for a referendum, but we should be prepared to. For the kids. That's all I've got to say.
Anybody else on this side want to speak? Yes. We'll go across the row.
Hi, I'm Carol Moon, and we have two children who attend our RB. Good evening, President Cindy, other members of the board, Principal Beisma, Dr. Skinkis, and other members of the administration and the RB community. Our community is again facing the difficult task of balancing the high school budget. Similar to last year, a variety of solutions has been proposed, ranging from increasing participation fees to elimination of several of the extracurricular activities so enjoyed by and so valuable for our RB students. Although I am here to speak specifically for the water polo teams, which you see many of the members of here, Several of my comments apply to all of the at-risk extracurricular activities. While the main goal of high school is to provide a sound academic education for our students in preparation for college, the workforce, and life in general, extracurricular activities play an important role for many students. For some students, particularly those who are at risk, involvement in and commitment to an extracurricular activity may make a significant difference in their academic performance, psychological well-being, and even their attendance in school. I can confirm from my own personal experience that being involved in extracurricular activities can be particularly significant for those students whose home lives are troubled, improving their self-confidence and their feelings of self-worth, and in some cases, providing a more intact family than they may provide at home. Water polo in particular is a valuable athletic activity on multiple levels. While water polo players enjoy many of the benefits offered by other athletic activities, it stands above other sports in that it additionally offers improved swimming skills, particularly useful in water safety, which can translate into job opportunities such as lifeguarding in high school and beyond. Superior strength and aerobic fitness training, including eye-hand coordination, combining swimming, throwing, and shooting skills, competitive strategy, and teamwork. The latter is a particularly important skill that has far-reaching benefits in the business world and in family life. Water polo has been described as a great stress reliever and is enjoyed by participants of all skill levels. Unlike some other sports at RB, all team members are given numerous opportunities to actively participate in the games. Water polo players tend to excel academically. In 2010, a greater percentage of water polo teams were awarded the IHSA Team Academic Achievement Award, which was incidentally introduced by RB, than many other sports including softball, soccer, volleyball, golf, and tennis. Closer to home, at least 7 water polo players at RB were among the juniors inducted into the National Honor Society last Tuesday. At least 3 senior National Honor Society members at RB play water polo, one of whom will attend Stanford University starting next fall, which is quite an accomplishment. And water polo is the only contact sport at RB which girls can participate in. A greater proportion of high school water polo players continue to participate in their sport in college and may have a greater opportunity for scholarship in college than in many other sports. And unlike in many other athletic programs at RB that have multiple coaches for multiple levels of competition, accounting for much of RB's athletic budget, and we know there are several of these, water polo players of all levels are included on only 1 girls' and 1 boys' team, with 1 coach each, resulting in a much more cost-effective utilization of taxpayer funds for the coaching staff. With the consistent coaching staff that has been available for the past 2 years for both the boys and girls team, the teams have made significant improvements. The junior varsity teams have won multiple games, and the varsity level players are competing at a much higher level. The varsity boys team had an incredibly exciting first game, which they won after going into overtime, and their performance in their game against Fenwick was quite admirable. And just last evening, the varsity girls team kept all of the spectators on their seat edges with a game that was close to or tied for nearly the entire time, with RB pulling out a victory with a goal scored during the last 5 seconds. In addition, I would like to remind the board and administration again that the pool in our beautiful aquatic facility was specifically constructed for water polo competition. It would be a waste of the hard-earned tax dollars that the parents and other taxpayers in our community agreed to pay specifically so that our pool could host water polo teams and games by eliminating this sport from RB. As the swimmers from the Otters teams are about to enter RB next fall, we can expect an increase in interest and participation in water polo among these upcoming freshmen. Furthermore, some parents may have chosen to send their students to RB in order to allow them to participate in no-cut sports such as water polo rather than to larger private schools where they might not be able to participate. We are all well aware of the need for fiscal responsibility and the need to balance our school budget, as we have been discussing this evening. However, there are alternatives to simply cutting out these activities that are so important for our students. It would be more equitable to pursue options that aim to further reduce the overall athletic budget expenditures for all of the team sports at RB, including the across-the-board increase in athletic participation fees that has been proposed, rather than eliminate selected sports out of convenience, or whatever the reason has been given. These sports and the other extracurricular activities that are at risk are just as important for the students who participate in them as the sports and other activities that have been chosen to be maintained. We have a large number of interested, intelligent, and creative parents who have a vested interest in seeing water polo and these other activities continue to be offered at RB. I would like to request that a group of these parents be allowed to meet with the water polo coaches and administrators and other activity leaders, if desired, to seek additional ways to decrease the budgets, including water polo, to ensure the survival of these activities and water polo as a sport at RB. Thank you for your attention to my presentation and those of the many other water polo supporters who are here in attendance at this meeting.
Anybody on this side? Please step up.
You want to show my support?
No problem. I just like to, I'm not trying to limit anybody with sport, but if everybody's going to speak tonight for 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to be here for our normal board meeting when it ends, so.
Hi, I'm Lori Risley. I have a freshman, and I had a boy that went all the way through, and he's actually at Penn State right now. He swam and played water polo, and my freshman would love to swim and play water polo for 4 years. This year, there are 24 boys playing water polo. That is up from last year's 19. Of the 24 boys, 19 boys were on the honor roll last semester, and the majority is consistently on the honor roll. Not all of the athletes were swimmers, though many and the majority do come with lots of water skills, and the majority are swimmers. Water polo is a sport that offers a unique combination of water endurance, ball handling strategy, teamwork, and strength. Every year since water polo has began in RB, there are water polo players that have gone on to play club water polo in college. A consistent comment, which I have received them all, and I passed many of them to you last year, but a consistent comment from all of these college students has been that it has been greatly contributed to their success and happiness in their college school. They quickly found a positive support system which helped transition them into their new student life. College statistics support a college student becomes, when they become a part of the university structure and thus find friends and support, they have a far greater success rate in college, and those students stay in school. Ironically, 15 of the 24 boys have expressed interest and intent to play club water polo in college. Now, these boys, most of them are also swimmers. Of those 15, 3 of them have also thought that they might swim. Now, you may think that 15 numbers is unrealistic, but I know these boys, and I know the type of upfront kind of work that they have been putting into water sports, and I assure you that it is a perfect transition for these students. Swimming, on the other hand, truthfully, is a very difficult transition, I know, because my son swam in college. It is quite a struggle to balance time and energy with the rigors of study. The majority of college swimming season is spent breaking down the athlete and training and competing under tired conditions. In comparison, boys water polo is a perfect sport for anyone that has been a swimmer for years, but they have to have the skills to go on in college. Water polo is a relatively short season. It is in the fall. And unlike swimming, the practice is geared towards technique, strength, and strategy with an emphasis on teamwork, not the individual. We all know that colleges love to hear about students that are ready to jump in and contribute to the university culture. We would like that these RB boys, that they work hard. We want them to have that chance to write their high school resume, that they made great grades, because they're making great grades right now. They want to also write that they have had 4 years of water polo play. And then they can tell those universities, I want to come and play for you. Choose me. Give me the gold star. That's the opportunity that you possibly are pulling away from them. The fact that water polo is a newer sport at RB and yet consistently sends its athletes off to play in college should be supported. Just think, potentially 1/4 of this team each year could continue on to college. What other RB sport can say that? 1/4. That's what we're talking about right now. That's what we have right now, the level of interest. I want you to realize the message you are sending these athletes if you cut the sport that they are talented in. Some of these RB students get the opportunity to, some RB students get the opportunity to walk into a sport having never given any time or financial commitment to that sport. Many of RB sports have spots for the beginner athlete, and many of those students know in their heart that they are not really committed to that sport and are probably not really going to stay competitive for 4 years and continue on for 4 years. The RB water polo players usually come in and they stay in, and they have intention, and they work all year round to stay fit and sharp and strong and fast for their sport. Now, sometimes I would like to ask myself, I hope you ask yourself, should the student that wants to play for fun, or maybe just a year or two just for the experience, trump the more serious athlete that intends to play for 4 years for RB and possibly in college? The students that just go out for a sport because it's something that they would like to try, if you cut this sport, you're telling them that that student is more important than the dedicated athlete. And these boys are the dedicated athletes. So when you're looking at possibly budget cuts or ways to trim money, you might want to think that there is viable options to the other sports. When the debate began about the new pool's physical attributes, the pool that is for swimming and water polo with a movable bulkhead, taxpayers were not convinced at the time. It was pointed out that the new pool would accommodate 2 high school sports now. The comparisons were made between the surrounding high schools that already offered water polo: Oak Park River Forest, Lyons, Morton, Hinsdale, Elmhurst. The argument for offering water polo never included discussion of RB's conference. I'm relating this conversation because one of the reasons I have read about cutting water is because water polo is not in our conference. That is because the discussion whether water polo is or is in a conference should not be an issue. Swimming is not in the same conference as other sports at RB. No matter the conference, RB students and parents compare scholastic and athletic opportunity of RB to the surrounding neighborhood schools that touch its borders. Our kids grow up in the backyard of Lyons, Oak Park, Morton, Hinsdale. They look at those schools and say, what are they doing? They know those kids. They're hanging out with them because they've played baseball against them. They've swam club meets with them. They've interacted with these schools. RB, if you ask these parents, they're always looking, what are those schools doing? They're not looking back and saying, what are the conference schools doing? What is Fenton doing? What is Ridgewood? What is Elmwood Park? That was never in the issue when water polo was brought up. We did not compare ourselves to those schools. And right now, I think it shouldn't be an issue to be brought up as a reason to cut, because they're not Fenton, Ridgewood, Elmwood Park doesn't have water polo, and they're in the conference, and we're not. That should not be an issue. Pay to play is a sad fact of the economic times facing many school districts. I have spoken personally to many, many parents about this issue. None of the parents that have a passionate athlete and that have committed time and money before their high school years wants to see the opportunity to play their sport disappear. We all know that extracurricular activity and activity in sports go a long way in attracting the attention of the desired college. I think it might be better to tighten our family finances as parents and plan to pay a higher fee for the sports our children are committed to. We as families will have to just tighten up. Will some families need to tighten more than others? Absolutely. Is there a way to fundraise so that no child that has athletic talent is left out? Absolutely. Could this be just the kind of financial issue that the community needs to see us put into place to convince them to pass a new revised referendum, which I think in the future we have to do? Absolutely. Could that new passed referendum later address the higher pay fee that maybe is a temporary fix? Another, absolutely. And last of all, will taxpayers be impressed that you continue to financially support the pool as a two-sport facility? I think they'd be really happy to keep paying that fee, knowing that there's two sports in that pool, using it all year round. In closing, one more fact about this year's group of water polo boys. At the beginning of the season, they went to Coach Murphy and told them that they would like to continue the swim team tradition of wearing dress shirts and ties and dress pants every day that they had a game. 1 week they dressed up 3 days in a row. You ask those teachers if they appreciate that. It's impressive. These are the athletes that we should be proud of. They are proud of their team, they are proud of themselves, and they are the caliber of students that RB and the board should support. Thanks.
In order to make sure that everybody gets heard, I'd like to limit comments for everybody to 3 minutes, just so that everybody has a chance to speak in that stuff. So who else over on this side needs to speak? So I'm just asking for courtesy just to...
My name's Mary Summers. I'm from Riverside, and I promise I'll be brief. I would like to make a request of the board to conduct themselves in a more civil manner than what we witnessed tonight. We have a room full of students here and a room full of parents who I believe witnessed shameful behavior. And when I've come to board meetings in the past and when I've watched on TV, I've witnessed the same type of behavior. And I think you as a board need to find a way to work together and treat one another with respect. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on this side of the room? Please step up.
My name is Jim Lelton, and I appreciate being here. I'll be brief. I live on Gage Road and office on Forest Avenue. I was initially asked to support and respect my family. Many of you know that my son Elliot is at Washington University, an avid volleyball player at WashU because of his tenure here at RB. Abigail is an avid water polo player here at RB and swimmer. And of course, she's an advocate of those sports. My daughter Olivia, who's still at Hauser, is excited about RB, but is talking about St. Ignatius because of the unclear future, which you all are grappling with. At my office at Town Builders, just down the street, I accommodate Young Life. I office the Young Life group at our office, and I'm very, very proud of that. So I have done my job to respect my children, to advocate for their sports and their curriculum. But I am here to encourage you. Not exactly like you, but similar to you, as I run my business, which is a community development company. And we support communities like the Village of Robbins, which are disenfranchised folks that are in great need, and many other towns such as that. I find it very difficult and oftentimes lonely to continue to run our business to help people in that regard. And in the same way, you have an impossible challenge. It's a conundrum. We're both in the same spot. It's a conundrum. How do we provide for the business, the revenues, to pay the expenses and obtain our revenues to run our operations, and still provide the services that are for our mission, which are vitally important? I'm trying to help folks in Robbins and these less impoverished or these more impoverished towns, and you're trying to help our children, and you're doing a great job. And you should be encouraged for that, and you should work together just like my team needs to work together. And as I wrap up, when I think about our budget, I try and focus on our mission and try and come up with energetic, creative ways that our organization just down the street in your open door policy can figure out a way to run our mission. It's somewhat impossible, but that's what we do. In the same way, I am encouraging you. You've got a great room of folks here that are testimony to your success. And I want to personally thank you because my children are similarly. They are the recipients of of this board's good work. And I appreciate that. So as I wrap up, I encourage you also to work together. We will support you as best we can on your mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody over on this side? Please step up. Just try to keep it 3 minutes, please.
Yeah, I've heard the message.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Dan Summers from Riverside. Thank you for listening to us today. I just want to point out, 12 years ago, my oldest son was about to head to kindergarten. We had to find a place to set down roots. And when we did so, we looked at, a few communities that I would call comparable communities. And, at the time, Riverside Brookfields High School didn't have enough AP programs, I didn't think, and, I wasn't going to move here. Well, I wrote to the principal, asked, what's up? You don't even have an AP chemistry class. And she sent me, a very long document explaining, what they were going to do, how they're going to improve things. And I thought, wow, this is great. Moved here, we've been very happy. But if I had known the position we'd be in now, 12 years ago, there's no way I would have moved here. And this is a problem. This is a slippery slope that you're going to have a situation where young families, or even people who don't even have a family yet, are going to be unwilling to move to your community and degrade, the value of the community, both the value of the property, the neighborhoods, et cetera. And we're getting into that place. You cannot budget your way out of this. It's starting to get annoying to hear immediately, a quick, we won't even consider raising taxes. We're not going to, raise taxes. The fact of the matter is, the way funding is done in Illinois, you have to have referendums every 7 to 10 years, probably. It's just the way it is with the cap that's put on, and the way costs are being, jammed down your throat with whether it be safety issues or pension reforms or whatever. You're trying to budget your way out of this. It's not going to happen. Cutting this group of kids you know, at the expense of, you know, keeping other sports. I don't care what rationale you may want to come up with. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you have been dealt a horrible hand. I feel for you. You know, I wish the referendum would have passed, and you wouldn't have these issues, and you could run the school in the way that we would all like to run, and I know you would too. But we're in a bad situation. You guys have to show some real leadership and be creative, and just, you know, making cuts because it's easy in certain ways without being creative at all is not going to solve the problem. So, thank you for your time.
Anybody else on this side of the room? Okay, let's go to this side. Anybody here wants to speak on this side? Please step up. Man, I see your hand up.
Hi there, Sherry Criticos. My son Cameron's a junior. My son Simon's a sophomore. He's on water polo, so that's why I'm here. We're all facing the same hardships that you guys are. We know what it's like in this economy. As much as it would be difficult for some of us for the higher pay to play, I as a parent would be glad to do it. It would be difficult, but I would be glad to do it, and I think there are more parents who would be willing to do that to keep our sports for our kids. When our boys and girls are heading off to college, these colleges are looking for well-rounded students, and it's hard to make them well-rounded when everything's getting cut for these kids. So I would be more than happy to do the pay for play, and when I came tonight to the meeting, I try to have great faith that as difficult of a job that you all have, that you would keep our children's best interests at heart. But commenting with Mary Summers there, it's very discouraging to watch the behavior of the board.
Anybody else on this side? Please step up.
My name is Dylan Alarcon. I'm one of the captains of the water polo team, and I'm glad to say that I've played water polo for 3 years, sadly not 4. But every year when we start water polo, our coach tells us this sport will mold you to who you will be later in life. Didn't really think much about that, but now that I see it, all these freshmen and these sophomores who later in life won't have this sport, I mean, it actually hit me hard to think that they may not actually have this. And I mean, personally, I love this sport. I look forward after school, not going home, but to come down to the pool and play water polo. I know senior Nick Lazar as well loves that too. And to be honest, to put it bluntly, it sucks if you take that away from us. I know it's difficult for you guys to, like, you really don't have a choice, but I mean, it will suck for us. And I mean, there's not much we can do. We just have to hope that you guys will make the right choice and see through our eyes that we love this sport. And I know everyone out here and all those who can't be here today, every single day come down to that pool and work their asses off. They do everything they can. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Del. Anybody on this side? Okay.
Hi, my name is Ross Moon. I'm a senior here at RB. I've been playing water polo for 3 years. What Dylan said about the dedication we put forth to this team is completely true. Water polo is basically a sport nobody's heard of before high school. You start up from zero, basically, and you had to make your way up. Nick Lazar has done it, Dylan's done it, I've done it. We're all seniors now. When I came into RB as a freshman, I was tricked into playing football. It was called running and weights training. So when I went into the locker room, everything was all right the first day, but as I went on, it became an increasingly hostile environment. Not towards me as much as some of the weaker kids around me. But when I walk into a swim locker room or a water polo locker room, this doesn't happen. The RB water polo players are extremely friendly to the freshmen, who are very malleable and very susceptible to things that are said to them. And as I'm sure you know that self-esteem helps with grades. You're not going to get a very high self-esteem from a football team. You'll get it from a water polo and a swimming team, though. You won't be made fun of for how big you are, because it really doesn't matter in a pool. What matters is how dedicated you are to the sport. The other players recognize it as well. Now, if we're going to cut this sport that gives the little guys a chance, I'd say it'd be a very bad reflection upon RB as a whole. In conclusion, don't cut water polo. It helps build self-esteem. It's becoming a bigger sport in RB, and the number one thing I hear from people who don't play water polo is not I don't play it because I don't like it. It's I don't play it because I can't tread for 30 minutes. We're dedicated.
Anybody else on this side? Okay.
Hello, I'm Evan Waterloo, and I'm a senior here at RB. This is only my first year playing water polo, but I have been playing soccer for 4 years. There's one big difference between water polo and soccer. Is the minute that I stepped into that pool deck the first day, I only knew 3 or 4 guys, but I was accepted by everyone, including the coach. I went up to the coach and told him that I was not confident, but he went around and turned to me and said, "Evan, just try your hardest and you will be fine." And you know what? At the end of the day, after everything is said and done, I'm now a much better person overall with swimming ability, being able to understand the game and everything overall. But if you cut water polo, you won't be able to get a tight-knit group of people like the ones that I've met. Soccer players, they're different. Every sport is different, but you can't just cut one and expect all the others to stay the same. You need to keep the small groups that are there too.
Is there anybody else on this side? Okay.
My name is Victor Mazera. I'm a junior at IB right now. I've been playing water polo since my freshman year, and I would just like to say it's an amazing sport. This is a beautiful school. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. The teachers, the students that are here offer a great environment for somebody to come up and find who they are. And especially in this sport, I've done a lot of things, a lot of different sports. I've never found a sport where I've really felt at home, and this is the first sport where I feel that way. You come in here, and like they've said before, the team accepts you. They bring you in, and it's a family. We stick up for each other in school. We help each other out when it's needed, and we've done a lot to keep this sport around for what it is. A lot of us are showing up here and giving our time to be here. A lot of us have a lot of things to do. I have an AP US test tomorrow that I should be studying for, but I'm here because I care about this. As a junior, I'd love to play this as a senior. I want to be a senior varsity player. That's been one of my dreams since I started playing. Right now I'm a JV captain, and I love being there to help out the younger dudes, to help out the freshmen, to let them know that they're welcome where they are. And I know that it made a difference for me. I know I came in my freshman year, and I was homeschooled before that, and I was a little nervous. And water polo made a difference for me. The guys that were here that brought me in and stood up for me and were friends with me that were freshmen, I thought they were the coolest guys ever. They made a difference in my high school career. They made me who I am. They're the reason that I stick up for kids now, that I take care of kids, because I knew how I felt. And I just want to say it's a great opportunity for a lot of kids, and get rid of it would be something wrong. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, anybody else on this side? Okay. Okay.
My name is Anthony Colon. I'm a freshman here at RB, and I'm a competitive swimmer. I've been doing it for 6 years, and actually a few of my teammates, I know like Dan Summers, he convinced me to try out for water polo because I thought that I'd enjoyed seeing that it's another water sport, and I could tell from first minute that I walked onto the pool deck for the first water polo practice that I could feel that it was something different with teamwork and the ability that we put in and hard work that we do for every single practice. It's not common in any other sports to see the type of teamwork that we do during every single practice. And I'm not very experienced. I'm just starting this my first year, first time playing, but I absolutely love the sport already. I've only been doing it for about 3 weeks now, been going to every single practice, and our coach, Coach Murphy, makes sure that each and every one of us plays in every single game. And that's not common in most other sports. So I just wanted to say that I think that like my other teammates have stressed that cutting water polo would make us absolutely distraught. Like, I would personally want to be a water polo player up till my senior year of high school. So thank you for your consideration.
Anybody on this side? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on down to our... Okay. Try to keep it to 3.
Gotcha. Thanks. Good evening. I'm Kathy Parisi. I'm from LaGrange Park. I have 2 children here at RB. One is on the way in a couple of years. I am here on behalf of the water polo teams, boys and girls. I do have a letter from a mother who could not be here this evening, and I'd like to convey that to you. I am the mother of Talea Gonzalez, senior. Unfortunately, I will be in class this evening. Please convey my message as follows. If you make it difficult for students to play water polo, as an example, costly or omitting the sport, that would not permit our teenagers to engage in a sport that fits them, active in school and out of trouble. There are many students who do not feel comfortable in other sports, but water polo suits them. Please, do not make this costly for students, nor cut the sport. This sport has encouraged my daughter to find a place at RBHS. This was difficult for her as she transferred from a private school in her senior year with no real friend connections. You know how important it is for teenagers to connect with other peers. Thus, you can see how important connecting with other students in this sport was to her. Water polo has allowed her to enjoy attending RBHS. Thank you for listening to my plea, Marianne Gonzalez. I also have a water polo player. She's a junior this year. Absolutely loves the sport. Did not have any experience before she joined. Has made a lot of friends. Just as all these gentlemen have come to you and spoke this evening, they're a very, very tight-knit group. They support each other. They're good kids. They get good grades, and they work hard. And I got to tell you, last night was the most exciting water polo game I've ever seen in my entire life, where those girls pulled it out in the last second and beat the team with 1 point. So on behalf of all the water polo players, I want you to consider pay to play. We have a beautiful aquatic center that the citizens of this district have paid for. Let's keep it going. Let's pay to play. Increase it if you need to, but let's keep our sports for these kids. Thank you for your time this evening.
Anybody else over here? Okay.